Opinions and stories around the game we love, told by your favorite storytellers. Stay up to date with all things cricket. Subscribe to Cricbuzz's YouTube channel and press that bell icon now.
It's Kolkata and Hyderabad. This again is a very interesting encounter. And Hyderabad's looking at this, and Hyderabad's looking at the points table and saying, we don't mind that our games came slow, because now suddenly they have a game in hand from everyone else and 2 games in hand from who is it? Just RCB. So yeah, they're looking at that and saying, if we can go 12-12, we can create a little logjam in the middle and make things really interesting going into the final week of the league stage. Let's have a look at the Hyderabad team and get Pommie and Joy in on it. Any changes that you foresee to this lineup?
I mean, I can't see Fazal Haq Farooqi coming in with Marco Jansen still there. I mean, the truth is the 2 things that they're waiting for really is for Washington Sundar to come back. I mean, really, we don't know how bad the injury is. So Washington Sundar, if he's not going to come back, that's one thing, because Washington Sundar will slot straight back. And the other, of course, definitely is Fazal Farooqi. I feel that they have a much better chance with somebody like Marco Jansen, given the situation that we have. They tried him out. He's a tearaway fast bowler. He does well, but Marco Jansen just has so much more to offer. And the preponderance of right-handers also in the Kolkata team, slanting the ball away as a left-hander. I would definitely look at that.
I mean, you'd miss Natarajan in any team, but given what Joy is saying, you'll really miss him tomorrow if he's not fit and doesn't return, Pommie.
Yeah, I was just actually thinking that it's the 2 lefties that you're looking at and you're thinking you want them back. One, because what they bring is some international experience, and they're different, aren't they? One's very tall and he'll bring some bounce at the back of the leg. The other is sort of right up at the stumps and is always at you and pretty good at the back end, at the death. So yeah, and also I think it's a good thing that they've sort of had a bit of a break. And why I think that is because having started particularly well, they couldn't quite stop the rot. You know, they just kind of went on this spiral and needed just to step away and couldn't. And that's the nature of the tournament, that sometimes you get into a losing scenario and it's pretty difficult to stop it, and you just keep fetching and unable to chase. And so I think that they'll feel pretty good. They'll kind of have had an opportunity to regroup, and the hope for them is that having regrouped, they can kind of go back to what those performances were towards the start of the tournament when they were going so well.
Yeah, and for the Knight Riders, Joy, it's, you know, they've come back to the 11 that they started with. There's a saying, right, that if you go really far away from home and you keep going, you just come right back, right? Because the world is round. Is that what has happened with the Knight Riders? They just made so many changes that they just came back to like game 2 or something.
Yeah, look, they'll be hoping Umesh Yadav is fit. If he isn't, they've lost Pat Cummins, and look, that tells you something, because I spoke to Pat today. I mean, I messaged Pat today, and it's a niggle. So had they felt Kolkata is in a situation to contend, he would have played. Okay, he's going back also because they're saying, you know, even if we win both games, the chances are we are not going to qualify. So he's going back on that basis, and on that basis he's on the flight. But this niggle is not happening in the last match. This is a niggle with which he came to this tournament.
Yeah.
So it's not a, you know, had they been 8-6, he would have stayed. And that, I think, tells you a little bit about what Kolkata is thinking, because I think at this point in time, Brendan would also, I mean, any coach in the world would be distracted. He's just got a new assignment for the next few years with England. Lots happening there. So I think right now, Kolkata's really, this match, it's a bit of a distracted unit, to say the least.
Yeah, but it's just been, this season has just been for the Knight Riders, when you just look at just off field and just number of changes, and, you know, the personnel, you know, missing, being rotated, 2 people from your 4 retentions are not playing for a couple of games. There's just, have you just felt that there's been, it's both, right, Pommie? There's been a bit of lack of clarity in the approach, and maybe that's come because there has been, I I guess, a lack of intent and execution?
I think that at the start of the tournament, in their minds, the couple of guys that weren't there were part of what is their best 11. So in their minds, so as a side, as they look and think, okay, who's here, who's not, who's playing now? Okay, you play and you can play the couple of games that these guys aren't available, but when they become available, they play. And this is our first 11, right?
Yeah.
And what happens is the couple of guys get some runs or get some wickets, and then it kind of just throws things off. Because then you think, oh, yeah, but we have to make this change. And then when they go out, you start to kind of slide up, down. And then you think, well, okay, no, we've got to change. So essentially, right from the beginning, there isn't this is our first 11. It's our first 11 will play probably in game 3 or game 4. And then it just keeps going.
Yeah.
And now they've made, what, 20 how many changes?
23, 24.
Yeah, it's the most by far,
Yeah, 2 dozen,
of all the sides. So, yeah, I think they've just not been able to have stability. And because there hasn't been the stability, it's meant the performances have been inconsistent as well.
Yeah, you remember my rhyme from 2013. If you are not stable, you will fall off the points table. That's right. It's one of the classics. It's one of the classics of the IPL.
Yeah, it's being taught everywhere.
It's in schools, in the syllabus as we speak. No, but I just want to add to this. One of the things that Kolkata is doing, and I think it's not doing really well, it does a lot of things well. So Kolkata, for example, has just got a new franchise in a new league and it's growing. But if the person who's responsible for getting new franchises and doing new leagues, that's a strategic function. Okay, if that person is also micromanaging the team selection, then we're in a bit of a logjam, because what Shreyas Iyer has said is a bit disturbing at all levels. Because what Shreyas Iyer is saying is that everyone is, even the CEOs, involved in team selection as well. So what it does is that, look, I think Kolkata has done fantastic strategically as a franchise, getting a US franchise, getting a Trinidad franchise.
As a business.
As a business. But getting Kolkata as a business, if the core of Kolkata is the heart of the Kolkata Knight Riders, perhaps that team needs a completely different form of leadership. It doesn't need a strategic business leadership. It needs a more hands-on leadership, which is more cricket-oriented, not business-oriented. And what Shreyas said, as somebody who's worked with Kolkata for a long time, or as somebody who's a fan of Kolkata, obviously, because I've worked 7 years with them, 7 seasons with them, is a bit disturbing.